Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be sharing some of the tips on the hiring process, getting a new job in this COVID era. So this was definitely a different experience for me. Normally when I would try to get a new position, it would take me 3 months. In this case, I was able to land a new offer in a couple weeks, which is awesome. So I'm really happy about that, but I think I learned a lot and I want to just share my tips with you all. This is advice I got from going on YouTube and seeing what career coaches have to say. Also just learned from the experience. So I want to first start out with the very crucial thing that really helped me a lot. So I started applying through Indeed, and then I realized I had not updated my Indeed resume in like 8 years. So it was completely didn't include all my skills and everything. Even though there was a Word file attached, it was absolutely essential to fill out the template version of the resume on Indeed and include keywords like Photoshop, Agile, Teams, Microsoft Office, any of those types of skills, Excel, PowerPoint, Visio. So basically having those keywords and then having the keyword technical writer, that way the recruiters were able to do a search and find me. It was much easier for them to find me. So after I updated my Indeed resume to make it more thorough and more detailed, I literally that day, within a few hours, I had 5 different recruiters reaching out to me. So that's never happened before. So I think that was like a game changer. So if you are looking for a new job, I would recommend not only having a Word version or PDF version of your resume attached to your Indeed account, but fill out their template as well, because it was very helpful. So that was awesome. I also want to talk about a very obvious skill, and that is to do as much research on the company as possible. So I went on about 5 interviews. I had 5 interviews. Most of them were done through Teams. That's a new thing too. So be prepared to have video interviews, and then maybe you'll follow up with an in-person interview. So basically, I was really prepared for one interview because I did as much research as I could, but because I put so much time and energy into this one job, which was great because I got an offer, I'm not going to say where, but the other interview, while it went really well, I didn't feel like I was as knowledgeable about the company and its services, so I kind of shot myself in the foot. But the interview still went well, and it sounded like they were going to give me an offer. But anyway, I just know when you feel prepared and you know, like, I literally looked at the financial earnings of one of the companies, how they did on their year-on-year performance. I looked at their products. I figured out how their products play a role in our larger society. So basically, I did my homework to show how enthusiastic I was about getting the job, because I thought that the services that they provide were pretty innovative, and I wanted to be a part of that. So basically, that interview went really well. The other interview, just because I was not as prepared, I should have done my homework. But anyway, so another thing I learned, which I have a problem rambling on. So sometimes when people are like, tell me about yourself, they don't want to hear about your love life or anything like that. They want to hear about your professional. And sometimes I would go on a little tangent and I'd have to stop myself. So it's good to be detailed, but don't ramble. That's something I think I struggle with a bit. But Indeed resume, that was the game changer. I'm just looking at my notes here. Oh, this is probably obvious to most of you, but since I just went on 5 interviews, everyone's going to ask you the question, tell me about yourself. They're also going to ask you the question, have you heard about our company? And so be honest and be like, well, I didn't hear about them until I saw your company's name on an Indeed post, but then I did some research and I found out that you did XYZ. So they're going to ask you that question. I did have 2 different people ask me about like obstacles, or like how I deal if there's like a misunderstanding or something in the office. I also was asked how I organize projects, how I keep track of my tasks. And another feedback I got, because I asked I asked them what qualities are going to make someone successful in this role. And the feedback I got, because I asked that to two different people, was being flexible and adaptable. So hiring managers want to know that they can count on you to, your attention may get diverted in multiple directions, and they want to know that you're okay with that and that you just have to be adaptable and flexible, and that sometimes priorities do change. And I have seen that in technical writing everywhere I've worked. So that's just the nature of the type of work. So also, and I want to say, sometimes documentation is like my highest priority, but it's not always other people's highest priority. So that's always been a struggle with the type of work I do. But anyway, I also want to say, don't just talk about yourself like being a narcissist, which I've done before. Ask the person who's interviewing you questions about their experiences at the company as well, and try to connect with them on a personal level. One question I asked to a couple different people was like, why do they like working at the company? And for me, it was a good sign when they said they liked the culture and they thought that the environment had a positive culture. So that's a good that's a good signal right there. So also, if you don't have one of the required skills, be proactive, get a free trial. So I did that with Madcap Flare. I'm learning it on my own because that was one of their required skills. So I said, well, I have not used it in a job, but before this interview, I downloaded the free copy. I have a 30-day free trial, so I'm learning how to use some basic concepts of it, and I'm reading a style or guide, how-to guide on how to use it. Madcap Flare is great, by the way. I would definitely look into it. It's great if you want to publish an ebook or if you're dealing with a lot of documentation. Anyway, if you're into documentation, definitely look up Madcap Flare and you'll see why it's a great tool. So, another lesson I learned was be careful of the time frames that you give recruiters. So I accidentally gave one job and one recruiter the same time frames of my availability. So then I had back-to-back interviews, and I actually had to cancel one interview, and I really wanted to have that interview. It was actually like a 2-hour interview, but I had to cancel it, and I've never canceled an interview before. But I had to, because if I went to that interview, it was going to take up all my energy, and then I wouldn't be on point for the other interview, which was the job that I really thought I was going to be a better fit for me. So I felt horrible about canceling last minute. So I learned my lesson. Be very careful about scheduling and keep detailed notes so you know what time frames you told what recruiters. So anyway, another thing I learned is the day before, if you have an in-person interview, the day before, make sure that your clothes still fit you. So I was gonna wear a work suit, and apparently I couldn't fit into it because I've put on like 10 pounds because of COVID or whatever. Actually put on more than that, and I've lost some of it, but I still haven't gone back to my normal size. So I basically had to find another outfit. None of my dress pants fit me, so I had to wear a skirt, and I really didn't want to wear a skirt. But anyway, I wore a skirt. I still think I looked okay. I thought it was a classy outfit, but I would have been freaking out if I got up and then couldn't find something to wear, and then I could be late, so just having your clothes ready the night before. I know it sounds like a silly detail, but that silly detail could totally turn into a disaster. I can't imagine if I had nothing to wear and then I ended up wearing something that totally did not look professional. That's going to reflect poorly on me. So learn that lesson. Also, I'm going to try to cut this off shortly because if I make the video too long, it won't go on my YouTube channel. So I guess the other thing I want to say is have notes in front of you with the job description, notes about the company. Also, if you can have a little bit of humor in your interview, it just kind of eases the tension. So the interviews that I think went the best were the ones where I was prepared. The environment was, someone would crack a joke or two just to kind of ease the tension. So that kind of made things successful. So being prepared, having a little bit of humor, oh, I also want to talk, one last thing is if you have, the jitters before an interview, which I definitely did, I would recommend listening to music on Spotify or taking a walk or meditating. It really does make a difference because I was dealing with an Uber driver that was kind of creeping me out. So I knew I was triggered and I needed to take a minute, take a short walk before the interview so I could kind of reset my mind from the horrible Uber experience that I had. So anyway, it was actually Lyft. And by the way, I normally have no issues with Lyft, but this was just a very uncomfortable experience. I thought the guy wasn't even going to show up. And then I was freaking out. I thought I was going to be late. I was actually 20 minutes early. So anyway, I tend to sometimes over-exaggerate things. And anyway, so basically to sum up, if you're looking for a new job, update your resume on Indeed. It will help you so much. Be mindful of your scheduling. Have your outfit ready the night before. Do what you need to do to reduce the jitters and be prepared for the commonly asked interview questions. So I didn't go through all the tips I learned because I'm running out of time here, but hopefully this information will be useful to some of you. And I would say if anybody else would like to hear some more details about fixing their resume, you can feel free to reach out to me and I'd be happy to give you some more tips on that. So I format my resume in a very specific way so it's easy to follow. So basically I have my education, qualifications, and then I go through, so right away they can see, oh, you have all these skills. The qualifications I think is useful for them. And then I go through, I don't want to show all of the places I worked, but I go through and show each place I worked and the type of work I did. Anyway, I'm rambling again. So if you are looking for a new job, good luck to you, and I hope that this video is helpful.